Hello and welcome tonight. Troops neutralize 13 suspected bandits in Benue and Plateau states. Millions of Nigerians now covered under federal health insurance scheme, that's according to the health minister. President Bola Tinubu begins 2025 annual leave to spend 10 working days in France and the UK. And French President Emmanuel Macron says 26 nations ready to send troops for Ukraine ceasefire.
On business news, PENCOM tightens rules on pension fund, directs PFAs to publish monthly performance reports.
On sports news tonight, Golden Eaglets draw Benin and Burkina Faso in Wafu B Under-17 Cup Group B in Côte d'Ivoire.
And from the nation's capital, over 2,000 displaced by devastating floods in Taraba State.
It's another success story recorded in the fight against banditry as troops neutralized 13 suspected kidnappers and notorious bandit kingpins. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Marcus Kangie, disclosed this at a news conference in Abuja while briefing on recent military operations across various theaters. He explained that the bandits who had been terrorizing Plateau and Benue states were taken out, adding that troops also thwarted an attempted oil theft valued at over 28 million naira.
The activities of troops fighting insurgency is the focus of this news conference as journalists converged on the conference room of the defense headquarters in Abuja.
Of 1,702,100.
The Director of Defense Media Operations provides an update on the activities of troops from different theaters of operation.
During the month under review, troops eliminated some key terrorist commanders during firefights as well as through air bombardment. They have also arrested terrorists, kidnappers, and other criminals. The likes of Adamu Buba, otherwise known as My Panshin in Rion, and Abdullah Abubakar, who have been terrorizing Rafiki village in Basa local government area of Plateau State. We are taking off while 2 suspected gun runners were arrested along Koi Kefi Road in Jama'a local government area of Kaduna State. Similarly, 2 suspected kidnappers identified as Mohammed Sanusi and Usman Al-Haji Bala were arrested in Obajana, local government areas of Kogi State.
Away from the operations of the troops, the defense headquarters addresses the incessant protest by discharged soldiers.
Those soldiers who retired from 1st January 2024 to 28th July 2024, before the implementation of the new minimum wage, wanted their gratuity and security department allowance to be calculated based on the new minimum wage chart. This cannot be done because the policy of the new minimum wage came into effect on 29th July. Thus, soldiers who fall within the category of pre-minimum wage chart are those soldiers who continually protest and construct barricades at the Federal Ministry of Finance.
As the fight against insurgency continues, the military is reaffirming its commitment to engage all insurgents and bandits to ensure the security of all persons.
Staying with security, but this time at the regional level. The Minister of Defense, Mohamed Badaru, is urging the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, and the Sahel to combine security operations with cooperation and community-based strategies in tackling insecurity across the sub-region. Speaking in Abuja at the regional conference on combating emerging terrorist groups and strengthening sustainable security in the ECOWAS and Sahel region, Mr. Badru noted that community-driven approaches are vital in addressing modern terrorism, which has grown increasingly complex, adaptive, and networked, with adversaries employing sophisticated methods to fuel cross-border instability.
Combating emerging terrorist groups and strengthening sustainable security in the ECOWAS and Sahel region is at the center of this regional conference holding in Abuja. The need to adopt a new approach in the fight against insecurity is brought to the fore.
We must address the root causes of radicalization. Military forces is necessary but not sufficient. Poverty, unemployment, exclusion, and poor governance provide fertile ground for extremist ideologies. Investing in education, strengthening community resilience, and ensuring good governance are equally critical to our long-term security. Winning the hearts and minds of our populations will definitely deny extremist grounds, extremist groups, the local support they seek to exploit. The task before us is clear. We must combine military strength with governance reform and socio-economic development. This comprehensive approach is the only way to deliver sustainable peace.
With terrorist groups multiplying and exploiting digital spaces as well as new technologies to fight, radicalize and recruit insurgents, the national coordinator of the National Counter-Terrorism Center canvasses increased non-kinetic approach.
Sustainable security is not about military action, but about winning hearts and minds, restoring trust in governance, and investing in human development. It is in this spirit that Nigeria established the National Counter-Terrorism Center under the Office of the National Security Advisor.
Appreciating the support of international organizations like the United Nations and countries like the United States and United Kingdom in combating terrorism in Nigeria and other African countries, the federal government has urged ECOWAS and other countries in the Sahel region to ensure the conference's success by supporting the implementation of its outcomes.
And now the road to sustainable healthcare for all Nigerians is very much on. And the federal government says millions of Nigerians are now enrolled under health insurance, with direct funding extended to primary health centers and mandatory coverage approved for federal workers. A coordinating Minister of Health, Professor Mohammed Pati, confirmed this at the closing session of the 2025 National Health Financing Dialogue in Abuja, the nation's capital.
All levels of government are key. Federal government, our states, local governments, and we all must take a lead in financing and strengthening our healthcare system at a decisive moment when we are seeing the winds of change in the global financing or development landscape. And the last 8 months certainly had presented us with an important opportunity for reset in the face of still continuing massive challenges. If we stop back and think, there are many women in this country who, without the ability to afford health care when they are pregnant in rural areas, will struggle to get the care they need. They risk losing their lives. Children who could lose their lives because they have not been able to access vaccines, for instance, to prevent measles. It's about people. It's about people in remote areas, traders, farmers, teachers, policemen, military, every one of us to be able to afford life-saving interventions. But at the same time, the challenges we face and the fiscal reality we are contending with means that we have to forge a narrative that is uniquely ours.
And indeed, we'll bring you more on that story of the National Dialogue on Health Financing in the course of the bulletin. Meanwhile, the Imo State government, in collaboration with the federal government, has launched the Maternal and Neonatal Mortality Reduction Initiative. According to the state government, the program is aimed at reducing infants and maternal deaths while aligning with national and global health priorities, particularly Sustainable Development Goal 3 of the 2030 Agenda, which focuses on good health and well-being. Our correspondent, Itokwe Kute, reports.
State health officials are seated in this hall in Owerri, Imo State capital, alongside development partners for the official launch of Maternal and Neonatal Mortality Reduction Initiative, MAMI. The initiative, which is jointly driven by the Federal Ministry of Health and Imo State government, adopts a 6-point approach to improve antenatal and postnatal services, deploy more community health workers in all 305 wards, use of technology to track high pregnancies, and more.
There is no reason a woman should die giving birth to another life, and children shouldn't die from preventable illnesses. So we have gathered together today to roll out this program, MAMI, which is Maternal and Neonatal Mortality Reduction, Intervention and Initiative in Imo State.
We are deploying evidence-based interventions, community-driven strategy, and technology-enabled solutions to ensure that no woman dies while giving birth or no child dies from preventable causes.
For the federal government, the initiative underscores Nigeria's commitment to 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development Goals, especially SDGs number 3, good health and well-being.
The Minister for Health thought it very wise to leverage on the efforts that we have been making through the years and see how can we improve on already existing programs and make it better. And so we are here to launch the MAMI project that has to do with sector-wide approach to ensuring that maternal mortality is reduced.
Some development partners describe the launch as a timely and strategic response to one of the most pressing health challenges in Nigeria.
HSDF pledges its continued support to ensure success. Together with all hands on deck, we can achieve the shared goal of reducing maternal and neonatal mortality in Imo State and beyond.
For the federal and state governments, the Maternal and Neonatal Mortality Reduction Initiative, MAMI, is more than a health program. It's a partnership to safeguard the lives of mothers, protect children, and build a healthier future. Itokwe Kute, Channels Television News.
After weeks of protests over unpaid debts by the federal government, the Minister of Finance has assured Nigerians that indigenous contractors will begin to receive payments immediately. The assurance was given after a meeting convened by the Deputy Speaker of the House with the contractors in the Minister's office. The Accountant General of the Federation was also in attendance at that meeting.
For some days, the indigenous contractors have been peacefully demonstrating, I must say, and under the leadership of the Right Honourable Deputy Speaker, Honourable Benjamin Kalu, we did hold quite a marathon meeting today where all the issues were discussed and a timeline was put in place, a way forward was mapped out, and I think all parties at the end of it left knowing that contractors would be paid for jobs done, and we have an orderly and a very, very systematic way of dealing with the backlog which had accrued over time.
We had an almost 4 hours engagement. They left here smiling. They left here smiling because we got the strategy in place. We got their concerns sorted. An implementation timeline was drawn, and all of them were happy. We're going to come back again on the 21st of this month to review what we have done so far, how we have ticked the boxes, what needs to be done, what was left undone, and the way forward. So they are going to be focusing the one we have chosen now, especially from February, March, April, and May. Those backlogged, they are looking into loading them. And I'm sure that this will stimulate the economy once more. This will help to strengthen so many areas of our country economy once the contractors receive their payments.
In part two after the break, President Bola Tinubu begins his 2025 annual leave with 10 working days to be spent between France and the UK. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the News at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Troops neutralized 13 suspected bandits in Benue and Plateau states. Millions of Nigerians now covered under federal health insurance scheme. That's according to the health minister. President Bola Tinubu begins 2025 annual leave to spend 10 working days in France and the UK. And French President Emmanuel Macron says 26 nations ready to send troops for Ukraine ceasefire. Earlier we brought you the story that the federal government now says that Nigerians under the federal health insurance scheme are fully covered, with Professor Mohammed Pate giving that revelation at the National Dialogue. We now bring you the report, and of course Benny Ark tells us all that happened at the event.
The 2025 National Health Financing Dialogue ended in Abuja after 4 days of discussions on strengthening Nigeria's health system and expanding access to affordable care. Over 2,000 participants attended, including federal and state officials, parliamentarians, development partners, civil society, and private sector, with remarks from the World Health Organization and key ministers.
Work that they have been doing.
The aim is to turn policy discussions into practical reforms. Calls were made for Nigeria to raise public health spending to 20%, cut out pocket costs, and strengthen health insurance coverage.
Nigeria leadership in health financing reform is not only timely, it is a visionary. At WHO, we believe that sustainable financing is the backbone of expenditure. It's a backbone of a resilient health system. This means increasing public health spending at least to 20% of the total health budget, reducing out-of-pocket payments to protect households. Out-of-pocket payment is recycling poverty. Strengthening our pooling and prepayment mechanism and using evidence, not instinct, to guide our decision.
To address us.
Ministers highlighted the federal government's commitment to both reforms in health financing.
With the expansion of the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund and billions of naira that has been disbursed to thousands of primary healthcare centers, with the HOPE program supported by IDA, we're now seeing the BHCPF 2.0, which will add additional 4,000 facilities to benefit from the direct facility financing over the next several months, expanding the footprints of our primary healthcare system, working with states and local government to ensure that Nigerians access the basic care that they need.
Insurance is critical in giving Nigerians access to the health care they need when they need it. And I have no doubt that the scale and detail of this dialogue can only mean robust, actionable, implementable policy proposals that will make our healthcare investments not just possible, not just larger, but also sustainable.
With these reforms on the way and global support, Nigeria's position in health as a national priority and a foundation for future growth. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
President Bola Tinubu has embarked on a working vacation in Europe as part of his 2025 annual leave. He was seen off this afternoon at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and other senior government officials. According to a statement by the presidential spokesman, Bayo Ononuga, the vacation will span 10 working days. The president is expected to spend the period between France and the United Kingdom before returning to the country. Now we head to the nation's capital, and Millicent Walker is standing by to give us the latest from our Abuja studios. Hello, Millicent. Over to you.
Thank you, Ayotunde. Good to see you. Well, here we begin with a devastating flood that ravaged 7 communities in the local government area of Taraba State, where no fewer than 2,800 people have been displaced and 680 buildings affected. According to the state's emergency management agency, the damage occurred as a result of residents' refusal to vacate the floodplains despite repeated sensitization efforts by the agency.
Officials of the Taraba State Emergency Management Agency are embarking on a tour to 7 communities in Lao local government area where a flood disaster has caused significant devastation. Residential buildings, schools, worship centers, markets, farmlands, among others, were overwhelmed in the flood, leaving some residents to take safety on treetops. According to the National Flood Early Warning Center, 11 local government areas in Taraba State are expected to be affected, in addition to other locations across 13 states nationwide, owing to the expected rainfall between September 4 and 8, 2025. The State Emergency Management Agency is engaging communities living on floodplains, asking them to evacuate ahead of the intense flood.
Please, you have to leave this area as fast as possible to a higher ground. We have seen and observed that Donda community is the only higher ground close by, and you need to move fast. We are collaborating with the Red Cross to provide medication in case of waterborne disease. You can only return here if the water level recedes.
The state agency is responding to the disaster by providing food and non-food items to victims.
We are grateful to Governor Abu Kefas for these kind gestures of providing for us in our trying moments. To the Executive Secretary, we appreciate our sincerity for not diverting what is meant for the poor and ensuring that it gets to us without any middlemen.
From the flood disaster, the agency puts the number of affected persons at over 2,000.
Flood in the local government has caused significant devastation, affecting 7 communities across 4 wards: Donada, Kuni, Daute, and Daudi, with over 2,800 people displaced, 680 buildings destroyed, 100 hectares of land. Under the distinguished leadership of His Excellency, as part of the State Emergency Management Agency efforts in responding to disaster.
As the rainy season gets to its peak in Taraba State, the government says it remains resolute in ensuring that lives and property are safeguarded through proactive measures.
Meanwhile, more than 1,000 residents of Garin-Kolo community in a local government area in Yobe State, displaced by the recent flood disaster, are appealing to the state government to provide additional social amenities in their new settlement. The flood, which destroyed homes and farmlands, affected over 1,700 people. The victims, mostly peasant farmers, are lamenting challenges such as inadequate shelter, poor access to health care, and the lack of portable drinking water, among other needs.
These are the victims of Garin-Kolo flood in Nangeri local government area of Yobe State. Some of them are lucky to be provided with tents, while others are waiting for the next support. However, their movement to this settlement have come with some concerns for the victims.
Our farmlands, our houses were all destroyed. The government has done its part by drilling boreholes for us. But sometimes, you cannot drink water because it is not good for human consumption.
The Yobe State Agency and the Agro-Climatic Resilience in Semi-Arid Landscape are yet to hand over sorted farm inputs to 100 of the flood victims. The items handed over by the Acresol project coordinator includes sprayers, insecticides, pesticides, fortified rice, maize and millet seeds.
Here in Acresol, we have to actually come and augment what other agencies have done. So currently, what we provided here today are some sprayers, so that most of them are farmers. They can use it in their farm. Power 44 rice seed, which happen to be the best, wheat seeds, and other support to actually make them feel comfortable, and that the Yobe Acresol is behind them, the Yobe State government is behind them, so that actually they should not be the brunt alone.
The village head of Garinkolo thanks the Yobe State government and other partners for providing relief materials for the members of his community.
I want to thank the governor down to our councillor. We are grateful for what they did to us.
The Yobe State Emergency Agency states that it remains committed to ensuring that every displaced family regains stability and begins a journey to recovery with dignity.
Still ahead on the news at 10, PENCOM tightens oversight on pension funds, mandates PFAs to publish monthly reports. That's on Business News. Do join us again. You're watching the news at 10, coming to you live from our Abuja studios. We head now to politics, where the leadership of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, in the Northwest Zone has condemned a purported court order seeking to hold its zonal meeting in Kaduna. The meeting, hosted by former Kaduna State Governor Nasser El-Rufai at his private residence, was attended by party leaders from the zone, including former Sokoto State Governor Senator Aminu Tambuwal. Former Minister of State for Defense Lawa Batagarawa condemned the alleged attacks on party members in Kaduna and Kebbi states.
The ADC Northwest leadership unequivocally condemns this cowardly, undemocratic and criminal attack on our peaceful members. This is not just an assault on the ADC. It is an assault on the democracy itself. Our members were lawfully gathered to carry out a legitimate political function, exercising their constitutional right to freedom of association under sections 39 and 40 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. To unleash thugs on innocent students simply because of their political choice is an unacceptable, intolerable, and shameful behavior.
Stance was echoed by former Governor of Kaduna State, who questioned the basis of the court order. He, however, says the party would review and challenge the order in accordance with the country's existing laws.
Well, what was planned was that the Northwest ADC leaders will come and visit Northwest Kaduna to commiserate with us for the incident of Saturday. And we're going to have that visit in our party zonal office. The police commissioner wrote to say that he should not have that. He knows what he's writing violates the Constitution. So they went ahead to try to obtain a court order. This morning he invited the National Vice Chairman Northwest and waved a piece of paper claiming that they have obtained a court order stopping us from having that meeting. We have not seen the court order. It has not been properly served on us, because even if there is a court order, there is a legal process to serve an affected person. It has not been served on us.
Meanwhile, the Kaduna State Police Command has summoned the immediate past governor of the state, Nasser El-Rufai, over allegations of criminal conspiracy, incitement of public disturbance, mischief and causing grievous harm. According to an invitation letter signed by the Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of criminal investigation, DCP Zubair Abdullahi, Mr. El-Rufai was invited alongside key members of the Kaduna State chapter of the African Democratic Congress. Also summoned were other political figures, including the Northwest Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Jafar Usani. They're expected to answer questions regarding the allegations. However, ADC members have stated that they are yet to be formally served with the police investigation. Well, the federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to tackling poverty and unemployment in Nigeria as the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. George Akume, flagged off Phase 2 of the Renewed Hope Employment Initiative in Abuja. He noted that the government remains resolute in addressing unemployment and poverty while promoting skill acquisition and creating job opportunities for Nigerians.
The Secretary to the Government of the Federation is the special guest of honor as the National Directorate of Employment flags off the second phase of the Renewed Hope Employment Initiative in Abuja. The initiative targets over 41,000 beneficiaries who will be trained in various skills to upscale their entrepreneurship and employability opportunities.
By the special grace of God, the ND under my watch will continue to make you proud through the creative design and implementation of employment creation programs that will address the challenges of unemployment among Nigerians.
Last year, the federal government, through the National Directorate of Employment, trained over 32,000 individuals and settled over 5,000 of them with starter packs. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation is optimistic that it will address unemployment and reduce poverty through this program. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, Nigeria's unemployment stood at 4.3%, representing 9.87 million people in the second quarter of 2024. Youth unemployment was at 6.5%, representing 4.18 million youth who have no jobs.
As we flag off the second phase of the Renewed Hope Employment Initiative today, let it be known that this administration will not relent until the scourge of unemployment is tackled head-on, until poverty is rolled back, and until every Nigerian has a fair chance to live a life of dignity and fulfillment.
As the federal government flags off this initiative, it hopes to equip over 41,000 people with the required entrepreneurial skills that will either make them become employers of labor or increase their employment chances.
Well, saying that the federal government's drive to empowering its citizens is also intensifying its drive for food security with a new agricultural program expected to benefit 12 million women across the country. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Food Security, Mrs. Yejide Ogundigbe, explained that the initiative will train and certify 12 million Nigerians with a special focus on young women and youth in climate-smart agricultural practices. Our correspondent, Sarah Achimugu, has more.
As powerful as this meeting targets how to achieve the federal government's vision for food security, as well as empowering Nigerians with skills that will impact their socio-economic well-being in the long run.
Bold and historic.
This time, women are the focus as they constitute over 52% of smallholder farmers in the country.
Today, more than 25 million Nigerians face some form of food insecurity. This stark reality is both a challenge and a clarion call, a call that spurred us on March 4, 2025, to jointly launch the 12 million mobilization campaign for young women in agriculture, an ambitious endeavor to equip our citizens with cutting-edge skills in hydroponic and agro-canaf enterprise development.
Representatives of some women-led organizations throw in their support, adding that women will be mobilized to benefit from the scheme.
By empowering our own members first, we set the standard, prove to the model, and inspire others across the nation to follow.
To our partners, local and international, your collaboration is the multiplier that turns blueprint into nationwide reality.
Some of the scope of coverage of the program includes crop production, strengthening women-led agro-business, industrial processing, and export value chain.
Establishment of sustainable year-round food production capacity for Nigeria, creation of resilient women-led agribusiness ecosystem that can endure generations to come, guaranteed income stream and dignified livelihood for program graduates, job creation in productions, processing, and export value chain.
12 million women are expected to be trained by 2030 through the Young Women Farmers Initiative. Sarah Chimugu, Channels Television News.
And that's it from Abuja. Over now to Lagos, where Ayotunde has more stories.
Many thanks, Millicent. In Kogi State, Governor Usman Ododo wants Nigerians to support President Bola Tinubu's administration in tackling the economic challenges confronting the nation. He made the appeal in Lokoja during the flag-off of the conditional cash transfer scheme for female students under the Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Employment Project.
Students and parents gather at the class hall of Government House, Lokoja, for the flag-off of the conditional cash transfer scheme for female students in the state. The initiative is one of the pet projects of Governor Usman Ododo's administration. The scheme encourages parents to send their daughters to school instead of engaging them in street hawking. It also aims to reduce the number of out-of-school children in Kogi State. In his address, Governor Ododo describes the Agile project as a demonstration of his resolve to ensuring that every girl child has access to safe and quality education.
From primary school to your secondary school is free education. Any principal that is asking you for any exam fee, please let us know. Commissioner. Because we need to let you know what we are doing. We must be open. Commissioner, hope they are aware. Nobody. All you need to do is to struggle to go to school. Tell your junior sister at home to start crying. You should start disturbing your parents that he or she must be enrolled.
He commends President Bola Tinubu for prioritizing the welfare of Nigerians, especially the girl child, through several federal programs designed to improve lives. He assures the president that at the right time, the people of Kogi will reciprocate this support with massive vote in 2027 presidential election.
Mr. President doesn't need to come to Kogi. Come 2027, Mr. President doesn't need to go around because he has done enough for us as a nation to show gratitude. And we in Kogi State, most especially my constituency, the young and the youth, both men and women, we have gotten our boots, our jeans and smartwear. We are going to lead from the front. We have never had it so good. What else do we want from Mr. President?
After his remarks, the governor performs a symbolic presentation of 40,000 naira already deposited in each student's account. If sustained, this project will return more female children to the classroom, giving them a better chance at a brighter future.
Right about now, Dominic is standing by to give us the latest in the world of business. Dominic.
Thank you, Tunde. And on business news, the National Pension Commission, PENCOM, has released a new directive aimed at standardizing the methodology for calculating and reporting investment performance across pension portfolios. Under the new guidelines, PFAs are required to calculate the rate of return over a 36-month period and convert it into an equivalent annual rate, expressed as a percentage up to 4 decimal places. The circular, which is signed by PENCOM's head of surveillance department, outlines a comprehensive framework designed to enhance transparency, promote long-term investment strategies, and reduce short-term decision-making among pension fund administrators. According to PENCOM, the computation must be performed monthly using a rolling 36-month interval. The federal government, through the Presidential Initiative on Compressed Natural Gas (PICNG), has denied reports of subsidy removal and increased price of compressed natural gas. This follows the recent media reports which suggested that CNG price had increased from 230 naira to 450 naira per standard cubic meter. In a statement issued to journalists today, the PICNG explained that the recent pump price adjustments announced by certain operators are purely private sector decisions and not the outcome of any government directive or policy. The agency mentioned that while pricing matters fall under the purview of the appropriate regulatory agencies, no directive or policy has been issued by the federal government to alter CNG pump prices. Meanwhile, the federal government has hinted that more mining licenses will be revoked as part of ongoing efforts to sanitize the solid mineral sector and protect investors from fraudsters. The Director General of the Mining Office, Obadiah Nkom, who made this disclosure, says the cleanup exercise, which covers expired, speculative and inactive titles, is necessary to make room for genuine investors and ensure compliance with the law. He mentioned that the agency had identified about 4,709 licenses, including 1,400 expired titles, 2,338 refused applications, and 971 notifications of grants where applicants failed to pay, leading to an outright revocation by the Minister of Solid Minerals Development, Mr. Dele Alake. The Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, has approved listed financial technology company eTransact International as the certified provider for its nationwide e-invoicing rollout. A statement issued by the FIRS Corporate Communications Department says that the approval strengthens eTransact's position as a trusted partner in government-led digitization of tax and business processes. The agency added that the National Information Technology Development Agency provided technical input, expanding the collaboration that began with VAT automation under Tax Administration 2.0. The first e-invoicing platform, the Merchant Buyer Solution, introduces structured digital invoices across business to business, business to consumer, and business to government transactions. And after 3 days of consecutive downturn this week, Nigeria's stock market records its first gain in September as investors try to take advantage of the recent drop in some high-value equities. Willie Bong tells us more.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. It's a huge sigh of relief in the market today as the NGX snaps its losing streak and recording its first rebound after 6 consecutive negative sessions. Investors are done settling back to school business, I suppose. Now, see today the all-share index rose strongly by 0.6% and settling at 138,980 points. Not yet at 140, but we see market cap also at 87 trillion naira. Hope to recover more in coming sessions. We saw buy interest across sectors, bargain hunting in stocks. Banking was up today nearly 1%. We saw other sectors, other indexes rising today as well. Oil and gas rebounding, consumer goods also rebounded. Now the investors are scrambling for these lower price stocks. But let's look at the gainers. Even though activity was low in the market today, Ella Lake saw a 10% jump today. Price movement was good. It settled at 12 naira 98 kobo. But Honeywell Flour also featured. We see it's up 9.95% at 23 naira 20 kobo. Today is the last trading day this week. Tomorrow, Friday, is a Muslim public holiday in Nigeria, so markets will be closed. Let's hope the market resumes next week on an upbeat mood. That's the Stock Market Report. Will Ibong signing out.
And that's it on business news. Back to Ayatunde for the rest of the news at 10.
Many thanks, Dominic. French President Emmanuel Macron says 26 Western allies are formally committed to deploying troops by land, sea or air to Ukraine as soon as a ceasefire deal is agreed on. The French leader made this known after a summit of 35 countries dubbed the Coalition of the Willing. Here's Simon Pusey with more international news in Around the World in 5 from our London studio.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Lisbon's mayor says the city needs answers after Wednesday's deadly funicular cable railway crash. A national day of mourning has taken place after the Prime Minister said 16 people had been killed when it's thought a cable on the tram snapped. More than 20 others were injured, including 4 Portuguese, 2 German and 2 Spanish nationals. Authorities say a 3-year-old child was also hurt. Police say they're working with the company that runs the Gloria funicular, which is popular with tourists, to work out who was on board and what caused the crash.
It's a tragic situation, truly tragic. I hope there were no maintenance issues, especially with the funicular cables.
We were actually thinking of taking the funicular today, but there was a long queue and one thing led to another, and we ended up leaving and we didn't go up on it.
Victims in a serious condition are currently being treated in various hospitals. I'll be visiting them, but above all, I want to say at this moment we are in mourning. All the people of Lisbon are in mourning.
When it comes to the city of Lisbon, that's one of the cultural symbols of the city itself. It has a historical significance.
Christian Almeida says he passed the site just before the crash happened.
You cannot help but think if tourists might think twice before coming here and stepping into those vehicles.
15 people have been killed and more than 30 others wounded in a suicide bombing near a political rally in Pakistan. Hundreds of members of the Balochistan National Party had gathered for a rally at a stadium in Quetta, the capital of restive Balochistan province, when a bomb exploded in the parking area. Balochistan, which borders Afghanistan and Iran, is the country's largest and poorest region. Its residents also face regular and often deadly attacks from the Islamic State and separatist groups.
Together, and can I just begin by thanking you all for the various commitments that you've made in the intervening weeks and months.
UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer has told a meeting of around 30 Western countries that they had an unbreakable pledge to Ukraine that was backed by the US and now had to press Russia to end the war. Sir Keir, who was co-chairing a largely virtual summit with France's Emmanuel Macron, warned that Russia's Vladimir Putin could not be trusted as he continued to delay peace talks while continuing the 40-month full-scale war. Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness has won a rare third term in office after his Labour Party sailed to victory in Monday's election. The Caribbean nation's Electoral Commission said the Labour Party had won 34 seats, beating the opposition's People's National Party, which secured 29. The candidate for the PNP, Mark Golding, has conceded defeat. Holness campaigned on a promise to lower income tax rate from 25% to 15%, while Golding said he would raise the income tax threshold.
You, the supporters, you would know how much you mean to me. For all of you who squeeze up on the bus to come to the meeting, who go on the long motorcades with us, for all of you who take on the PNP them when you hear them with the lies.
The Italian fashion designer and billionaire brand owner Giorgio Armani has died at the age of 91. He was an archetype of Italian style and elegance, reimagining men's and women's suits for a modern audience. Armani, which began as a fashion company, expanded into music, sport and even luxury hotels. He was also a revered businessman, with his company bringing in more than £2 billion a year. And the 5-year £80 million restoration of the Big Ben Tower in London has been nominated for the UK's leading architectural award, alongside a new fashion college campus, a science laboratory and an inventive home extension. The refurbishment of Big Ben, officially known as the Elizabeth Tower, is among the 6 nominees for the Royal Institute of British Architects Sterling Prize. The list also includes the London College of Fashion campus on the former Olympic Park in East London and AstraZeneca's Medical Research Centre in Cambridge.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Many thanks indeed, Simon. In the world of sports, Super Eagles defender Lionel and midfielder Alex Iwobi remain positive ahead of Saturday's crucial World Cup qualifier against the Amavubi of Rwanda at the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium. The 3-time African champions are 4th in Group C after 6 games with 7 points. They remain confident they can win the remaining 4 matches. Africa's most decorated under-17 team, the Golden Eaglets, have been drawn alongside Burkina Faso and Benin Republic in Group B of the WAFU B under-17 Cup holding in Cote d'Ivoire. The draw conducted earlier today also placed the host nation Cote d'Ivoire in Group A alongside Ghana, Niger Republic and Togo. Not only the 2 finalists from WAFU Zone B will move on to the 2025 under-17 AFCON. The 2 groups will battle for spots at next year's Africa's Under-17 Cup of Nations, which also serves as the gateway to the FIFA Under-17 World Cup. And that's sports tonight. I'm Kelly Egiga. It's back to you today.
And the main news again. Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Marcus Kange, today told newsmen in the nation's capital that troops neutralized 13 suspected bandits in Benue and Plateau states. That's the news at 10 tonight. Many thanks for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun. To have a good night.